Hello everyone, here is my video showing you how to solve equations that involve matrices. So this is our first example. We are solving for capital C. Now the thing to notice in this equation, C is not just a single number. It's not just one variable like usual where we just find one number. It's actually an entire matrix. A matrix C that is missing. So if it's helpful to you to rewrite the problem, matrix C has to have the exact same dimensions as the other matrices in the problem, because that's the only way you can add matrices together. They have to have the same dimensions. And then the answer is also the same exact dimensions. So we're actually finding three different things. We're missing three numbers that we need to find in order to figure out what matrix C actually is. So these are actually pretty easy to do. In order to find this little letter A right here, we know that when we add matrices, you just add the numbers that are in the same position, and then it equals the number in that same position as well. So we can actually break this down into three separate equations. A plus 9 equals 17. And that's really easy to solve. You would just subtract the 9. So we get 8. So then if we have B plus -4, then that has to equal the number in the same position, which is 3. So you can just add the 4. So B equals 7. And then to get C, the bottom number, we can do the same thing with those bottom numbers. C plus 10 equals 10. So if we solve this one for C, we get that C equals 0. So the final answer, matrix C, is going to equal the matrix 8, 7, 0. And so this is the final answer for this first example. All right, here's example number 2. So once again, in order for the answer here to be a 3x1 matrix, this matrix X that we're actually missing, the one that we're looking for, has to also be that same 3x1. So if you need to rewrite the equation with the actual matrix in there, you're missing these three numbers. You can use whatever letters you want. I just wanted to use A, B, and C. So we can set up three separate equations like we did on example number 1. -12 has to equal 2 times whatever A is. So -12 has to equal 2 times A. So it's really easy to solve. Just divide by 2. A equals -6. Do the same thing for B. Well, we know that this 2 has to equal 2 times B. So again, if you solve for B, B equals 1. And then if we do the bottom numbers, 2 equals 2 times C, it's the same as what we got for B. C also equals 1. So this matrix X right here that we were looking for, the answer is going to be a 3x1 matrix, and we're going to have -6, and then 1, and then 1. So this is the final answer for our second example. Okay, here is example number 3. So this time, matrix B that we are looking for has to be a 3x2. So we are going to need to find 6 different values this time. So again, if you want to rewrite the problem so it's a little bit easier for you to line everything up, then you probably want to do it, even though it does take a lot of paper. Do what you need to keep everything straight. All right. So now, once again, when you're adding and subtracting, those dimensions have to be exactly the same. And you also want to make sure you're adding and subtracting the elements that are in the exact same position. So if we're going to find A, then we need to use all the numbers in that same position. So to set up the first equation to find A, we're going to go A, then we have the minus sign, then we have a -1, then we have the equal sign, and then we have the -2. So, you know, minus a -1, that is really A plus 1. So now, one-step equation, subtract the 1, A equals -3. So we're going to do the same thing with the next position. So if we're going to find this little letter B here, we need to use all the numbers in that same position. And that row 1, that column 2. So in the first row, second column. So to find letter B, then we have a minus, then we have -5, then we have the equals, and then we have the 0. So B minus the -5 is actually B plus 5. So to solve, you would just subtract the 5 and get B equals -5. So we're just going to continue to do that with all of the numbers in every position. So as you can see, I've done the next two. To find letter C, we needed the same position. So the C goes with the 8 and the -9. So we had C minus 8 equals -9. So then I just added the 8 and we got -1. To find D, we need to minus the -3 and then equal -2. So now if we want to find E, we'll do the same thing. This time we're in the bottom row, that first column. So we need to line it up with all of the numbers in the bottom row on that first column. So we have E minus -4. And then we have an equals 12. So this is really E plus 4 equals 12. So if we subtract the 4, E equals 8. And then our very last one, to find this letter F, we need to line it up with those last ones. So to find letter F, then we have our minus, then we have -6, then our equals, and our 7. So this is really F plus 6. So if we do 7 minus 6, we get F equals 1. So up here, matrix B that we were looking for is actually going to be a 3 by 2 matrix. A was -3, B was -5, C was -1, D was -5, E was 8, and F was 1. So you have to be really careful when you go to write your final answer. Make sure you're putting all the numbers back in the correct position when you write your final answer. Alrighty, here's our fourth and final example. So here you can see matrix C is the matrix that we are looking for. So because we know with adding and subtracting, all the matrices need to be the same dimensions, matrix C has to be a 2 by 1, just like these other two matrices. So if you want to redraw your matrix C as an actual matrix, you can see we're missing 2 numbers that we need to find in this problem in order to write matrix C. So when you rewrite the problem, now you can easily line up all of the values in the same position. So if we're trying to find this A, we're going to use all those top numbers. So we have -2 times A minus here, and then -5. Then we have equals, and then -1. So we know minus a negative, that's really a plus 5. And then just solve. That part you can do. And then divide. So A equals 3. So to find the other number, to find whatever little b is here, we're going to do negative 2 times b. Then we have a minus negative 4. And then we have equals 18. So we know that minus a negative really means plus. And now it's just a two-step equation. So minus the 4. So negative 2b equals 14. Divide the negative 2. B equals negative 7. So to write your final answer, matrix C that we were missing, it was a 2 by 1. And little a was the number I put on top, so that was 3. And then little b was negative 7. So this is matrix C. I hope that this was helpful. Please email me if you have any questions. There is an assignment for you to complete for today. Have a great day.